Good morning everyone. Hope you are doing good. Coming back to accounts class. In the previous session we have done with the rules of accounting, which is very important. As I told you, whatever the problems that we are going to solve or whatever the accounting books we are going to maintain even in your further career also, it all based on those rules. So obviously you have to learn those rules. I have informed you in the previous session itself. Learn the rules under American system. Learn the rules under the American system, where the rules is based on assets, liabilities, capital, expenses, incomes, right? All these rules you have to learn. Okay, so as the asset rule says, increase in asset it will be debited, decrease in asset it will be credited, increase in liability will be credited, decrease in liability will be debited. So all these rules you have to learn. Now the next topic is the classification of accounts into liability, assets or capital or incomes, expense, all that you have to know. As I told you before, in each transaction we are going to find out the aspects. We need to find out two aspects. I have told you, right? So when you are identifying these aspects, you should know whether these aspects belongs to which particular category, whether it is an asset or it is an liability or it is an income for the business or it is an expense for the business. This classification you should learn before starting with the journal entries, that is before starting with your problems. So today's class we are going to learn the classification. So as I have written here, classification of accounts into assets, liability, capital, expenses and incomes and gains. So here you can see all the items, certain items have written here. So I will tell you how you are going to identify this is asset, this is liability, how you are going to identify. Okay. So coming here, the first one is cash. Cash I have told you as asset. In the previous sessions, if you have listened to the video, I have told you cash is a current asset. So whatever comes under the current asset we will consider as asset itself. So asset has two categories, current asset and fixed asset. But here when we are classifying, it's no need to specify whether it is a current asset or a fixed asset. Okay, just you can write it as asset. Okay, why is an asset? Cash is a liquid form which is there in the business. Whenever you want, it's for the purpose of the business and it for the smooth running of the business. Obviously we need certain cash. So it is an asset for a business. So you will be writing your assets. Okay. The next comes drawings. Do you remember the meaning of drawings? Drawings, in the first chapter we have learned the basic terminologies. Drawings is nothing but when the owner is taking certain cash or goods from the business for his personal use. When an owner is taking any amount or any goods which belongs to the business for his personal use, we call it as drawings. Is it right? So now from the point of business you have to think. All this we are thinking from the point of business. You assume yourself as a business and think from that point. Now you are a business, the owner is taking some cash from you, from your business account for his personal use. Obviously it is an expense. So here drawings we consider as expense, or it can be taken as capital also. It comes under capital also, since the expense drawings whatever done by the owner, that will be deducted from the capital balances. So you can write drawings can be considered as expense or as capital. But when you are classifying, make sure that you are going to write it as expense only. We consider it as expense. Okay, from the point of the business, it is an expense. Next, coming to bank overdraft account. So you heard about this word bank overdraft. Obviously, it will be coming in the bank transactions only. So when a businessman is maintaining one particular account in bank, usually it will be a current account. Now how everyone will have their savings accounts, fixed deposit account or recurring account. In the same way, this is also one type of account, that is current account, which is managed by, usually it will be managed by the business people. So when they have shortage of money in the particular account, they can draw more than their balance. The bank will give the permission for the business people who are maintaining the current account, in the bank. So the bank will be permitting them to draw more than their particular balance. There will be certain limitations also. Suppose they may give 10, more than means it is not lakhs together they can withdraw from the bank. So they have certain limits. Maybe they may fix for 1 lakh or 50,000. So 50,000 is your limit. Even if you have zero balance, you can draw until 50,000. That is the benefit given by the bankers to the particular businessman. Okay. So bank overdraft is nothing but when you draw more than your bank balance. When a business owner is, or a business people drawing amount from a bank more than his credit balance, so that becomes overdraft. More than his bank balance is drawing. That is the meaning of the bank overdraft. So obviously, when you take more amount from the bank, it's short of it is in the form of short loans. We can say very small amount of loan. In a simple term, we can say it as a small loan. So even for this bank overdraft, they have, as I told you, it is a limited amount will be withdrawn. As well as there will be certain period within that the owner has to pay back. Repayment has to be done along with some interest. Okay, I think this you will be learning more detailing in your business study chapter. So here, as per the accounts, I am just telling you the basic information about the bank overdraft. So bank overdraft is a facility given by the banker to the business people where they can draw more than their credit balance for certain extent, and that amount has to be repaid in one particular period which is mentioned by the banker along with some interest. Now coming back to this classification. Now you are a business, you are making some payment for XYZ company. You have given a check to draw from your account, to take from your account, and the bank balance that you have in a bank is 20,000. Assuming you have 20,000, but you have given a check for 30,000. Means what? When he put a check in the bank, obviously he is taking 30,000. That is, your balance is 20, and you have given check for 30. How much extra the person you are allowed to draw? You are giving 10,000. More than your credit balance, you are taking 10,000 for the making certain payments. So that 10,000 becomes the bank overdraft, where the company or the business will be liable to pay back to the banker. Obviously, we have to pay back whatever the extra money we are taking from the bank. We have to return it back to the bankers along with some interest. So that is the liability of the company or the business. So bank overdraft comes under the liabilities. Next, coming to the outstanding expenses. I have written here O/S. It's nothing but outstanding. This refers to outstanding. O, this is not L, this is slash. Okay, /S. This refers to outstanding. Okay, outstanding expenses. What do you mean by this outstanding? Outstanding is nothing but whenever you have done certain particular task or work, whatever it is given, it is completed, the task is completed, but you didn't get any remuneration for that particular task. the amount is still due. When the task is completed or the activity or any transaction is completed, the work allotted is completed, but the amount is yet due, they have not paid. So work is done but amount is not paid. So that is nothing but outstanding. Even though after completing your work, that which is not paid, that we call it as outstanding. In this outstanding expenses, you will not get as outstanding expenses. You will be getting outstanding salary, outstanding rent, outstanding current bill, electricity bill. Like this, you are going to get the transactions for the classification. So as I told you examples, outstanding salary. Now you have worked from your point, you are a business now, your employees have worked for 2 to 4 months, they have continuously worked. Instead of giving 4 months salary, you have given only 3 months salary, where already they have worked for 4 months. Okay, you need to pay for 4 months salary, but you are paying only 3 months salary, where that particular 1 month will become the outstanding salary. That particular 1 month salary which is not paid, that becomes the outstanding salary, which is that business will be liable to pay for their employees. Okay, the work is done by the employee, but the company has or the business is not yet paid. So that becomes the liability for the business to pay the outstanding expenses. You can take outstanding rent also. Now the business, whatever you are running, you're using one particular storage house, warehousing, you are using for a rented purpose. You are using this storage warehousing for certain months. Okay, continuously you are using, and you are paying month on month, you are paying the rent. You have paid rent till the month of August. Now it is October. For the month of September you couldn't pay. You were not able to pay. So that becomes outstanding. You have used the warehouse for September month, but still you didn't pay the rent. That becomes the outstanding. The due amount, we call it as outstanding, which the business has to pay. When the business has to pay, it is an expense, obviously. Is it right? So if it is work is done or the benefit is taken, but the payment is not done, means that becomes the outstanding expenses. So you will be getting outstanding salary or outstanding rent. Like this, you are going to get the accounts here for the classification. So all those are the examples for outstanding expenses. So outstanding expenses, or you can also take it as, here I can write salaries, outstanding rent, all becomes the liability for the business. It is a liability for the business. Okay. Next, coming to prepaid expenses. Now just quite opposite to the outstanding, that is the prepaid. So what is that prepaid? Means certain advance payment, whatever we are doing, that becomes the prepaid, nothing else. Before completing your task, you have already paid certain amount. That is nothing but the prepaid expenses. Here also you can get prepaid salary, prepaid rent. You will be paying, you can also pay certain rent. So suppose if you want to pay the rent for the October month, you are paying, including November month, you are paying the rent at now itself, where November month will become the prepaid. Is it right? So, and in case of salary also, in case if you are paying, you wanted to pay actually 4 months salary, but you have paid 5 months salary, which belongs to the 5th month is coming up next month's salary, you are paid now itself. So that becomes the prepaid expenses, that is prepaid salary, prepaid rent, anything, whatever expenses you are getting in outstanding, same thing you can get in prepaid also. It is, the concept is here, outstanding means your work is done but not yet paid. Amount is still due. Prepaid, it is paid in advance. In advance you have paid, but still the work is not yet completed, but you have already paid the amount. That becomes the prepaid. Now everyone have their mobile, is it right? You are going to recharge every month or every 6 months or 3 months you are going to recharge. That is what? Prepaid, right? You are recharging the amount, how much is required for you, you are going to prepay. You are going to pay it before itself for your mobile recharge, and then you are going to use that particular network. Is it right? That is what the example for prepaid expenses. Understood? So prepaid expenses will be an asset for the business. Why it is an asset? Because already you are paid. You are yet to receive the benefit or yet to receive the service or the product. Whatever the work is we have assigned, we have already paid and we are expecting them to do. So that is becomes a current asset for a business. You can write it as asset. Okay, I know these words are new words for you. Bank overdraft, outstanding expense, prepaid expense. These are very basically used words in the accounting process. So you have to learn these meanings and all. It's very important. I have not given in the basic terminologies, but these are very important. I am explaining you clearly. Even if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the interactive session or you can send me message in the WhatsApp group. Okay, now going ahead, the next comes the discount received. Here I have written discount alone. Don't get confused now. Now just discount received. Just assume you are a company or you are a business, you are going to purchase some machinery or you are purchasing some raw materials. You are going to purchase certain raw materials worth of 10,000. The total cost of raw material is 10,000. So when you are paying 10,000, that supplier who is giving you the raw material, he can give you some discount. Maybe 500 he has given as a discount. Now how much you will be paying out of 10,000? He has given 500 as your discount. So how much you are supposed to pay now? It's only 9,500. Means when you receive a discount, when we are receiving a discount, obviously it is an income or gain. When we receive any discount, it becomes income or gain for us. Even if you go for any shopping, you have buy some top or cloth, some shopping you have done which is costing rupees 500, where you got 100 rupees as discount, you will feel very happy now. 100 rupees I have got the discount, I can use it for further shopping, you can do it. Is it right? Which is an income for you, which is an extra gain for you. Is it right? So discount received will be an gain or you can consider as income. Understood? Gain and income or same. I have explained you in the basic terminologies. Okay. Next coming to discount allowed. Discount allowed from the point of business. Suppose if you are selling a goods, if you are selling some goods and a customer has come, he has purchased worth of 10,000 goods from you. Now you are giving some discount. Allowing is nothing but you are giving some discount. So when you give discount out of 10,000, you are given discount 500 rupees. Now the customer is paying you how much? 9,500 is paying to you. So 500 is becomes a expense for you or it can be considered as loss. So discount allowed will be expense. When we receive the discount, it is an income or gain for us. When we are giving the discount, it becomes an expense or loss for particular transactions. So that is discount allowed means when we are giving the discount. That is expense. When we are receiving the discount, it becomes income. Okay. Next coming to interest account. Here again interest can be interest received or interest allowed or interest paid. Not allowed, interest paid. So when you receive some interest, it is obviously it is an income. When you pay the interest, it is an expense. It is clearly noticed. So what is interest? On certain principal amount you are getting some returns, that we call it as interest, right? So when we receive the interest, that becomes incomes. When they have given interest paid, that becomes we are paying the interest. Means it is the cash is going out of us. That means it is an expense. That is the clarity I am giving you clearly. Here usually in the exam papers they are going to mention interest received or interest paid. Either one they are going to mention like discount. Okay. In some cases they will give only interest. Just interest account they are going to give. Where you have to assume very clear it is an expense that refers to interest paid. Only in case if they have clearly mentioned interest received, if they have given statement called interest received, if they have mentioned, then it becomes income. If they have not mentioned whether it is received or paid, nothing they have mentioned, you have to consider as expense only. We consider as interest paid. So that becomes an expense. When you pay interest, obviously it is an expense. Cash is moving out of our business. Okay. So once again I am repeating, in case if they have given just interest, it is refers to interest paid. If they have mentioned interest received, then that becomes an income. Don't get confused here. How we are considering discount received as income, discount allowed is expense. In the same way, interest also. But in some cases they will give only, they will not mention anything, they will mention interest account, that's all. Which means interest paid. That is an expense. In case of interest received, if they have mentioned clearly interest received, then it becomes an income. Okay. Next, coming to computers. So computer is an asset. So if you take any software companies, big companies, the main assets is so many systems will be there. There are 100 and plenty of computer systems will be there, where it can be converted into cash in later stages whenever it is required. So this is a fixed asset, you can write, or it belongs to the assets. And coming the last one is stock. Stock related to the goods. Whatever the stock in the business, either it is material or semi-finished goods or finished goods, all comes under the stock, where it can also be converted into cash in later stages. So it belongs to assets. So here there are 10 classifications I have done till now. As of now, I am going to do some more examples with this. Okay. So once again I am going to repeat. Here we have the classification of each account. We need to classify into assets, liabilities, capital, expenses and incomes. So this is a sure question for 6 marks. From your final exam, it is a sure question for 6 marks. So here you have to classify in this way. So I am going to send you the notes which I have almost 25 to 30 accounts I have sent, different accounts I have classified. I am going to send you the notes. So I just want to explain you how we are going to categorize, how we are going to differentiate between assets, liabilities, expenses. This is why I used to tell in the initially, I used to tell learn the meaning of assets, liabilities. All these are very important terminologies, the basic terminologies which we are learned. So without those meanings or those concepts, you cannot analyze a problem. So whatever the problems we are going to solve in the further classes. So kindly see that you are able to classify this, learn this. You should learn the concept, not don't just by heart. By heart will not help you in accounts. You should be thorough with the concepts and logics. That is very important. Okay. So this 10 concepts, 10 transactions I am just explaining. It's not a transaction, it's just on different accounts. 10 accounts I am going to explain. I have explained as of now. I am also explain 10 more with some other transactions or some accounts which is also important, which is a new words to you, but you have to learn. These bank overdraft, outstanding expenses, prepaid expenses, all these I have not given in the basic terminologies, but I am explaining here separately so that you will understand. If you are not able to follow, please replay the video once again and watch and listen carefully. Okay, fine.